Hi, so in this video we're going to talk about matter and how it's classified. So when you look at any matter, the first question you want to ask is what type of particle is it? Is it a one type of particle or is it more than one type of particle? If the answer to that question is yes, it's made up of one type of particle, then you're at a pure substance. Now if you follow this train of thought, if you have a pure substance, it's made up of one type of particle, the next question to ask is, can this particle be separated into simpler substances? And if it can be separated into simpler substances, so the answer is yes, then you have a compound, okay? And if it cannot be separated into simpler substances, so the answer is no, you have an element. Now, if you come back to matter, remember if the answer is no, which means you have one type of particle and it's not one type of particle. Therefore, you have a mixture. Now the question is that mixture uniform, which means it looks the same throughout? If it looks the same throughout, so the answer is yes, then it's a homogeneous mixture. If it is not uniform throughout, so the answer is no, it's a heterogeneous mixture. Let's try to put this all together with some examples. So coming back to matter, one type of particle, so we have a pure substance. So one example of a pure substance is water, okay? So that means it is just one type of substance, it is one type of particle. So I'm just going to take a different color out here and write down water, okay, in red. That's an example of a pure substance. Now, turns out water can be broken down into oxygen and hydrogen because we know that water is made up of oxygen and hydrogen. Therefore, if we take one of those elements that water is made up of, notice carefully I use the word elements. So oxygen would be an element, and oxygen cannot be broken down further into anything else. Oxygen is where it stops. Now, water itself is a compound, right? So the answer to this question, can it be separated into simpler substances? Yes, that's an example of water. Now, let's come back here. What if we had a mixture, okay? So we have one type of particle and it is a mixture. Well, lemonade would be a mixture because you have sugar, salt, water, lemon juice. So lemonade is a mixture. Now the question is, of the mixtures, which one would be homogeneous and which one would be heterogeneous? So homogeneous mixtures are uniform throughout. So if you take sugar and you put it into water and you make a solution, the solution is going to look seamless throughout. You sip the solution and it's going to taste sweet. Okay, so sugar, water, that would be a homogeneous mixture. Now, what's interesting is, in a homogeneous mixture, you cannot distinctly see the particles from each other. So even if you take a microscope and you try to look for the sugar molecules and the water molecules, you won't be able to see them separate. Now, if you look at heterogeneous mixtures, an example would be salt and pepper. So if you take some salt from the salt shaker, you sprinkle some pepper on it, and you mix it up, you will get a very nice mixture of salt and pepper. So you see little black particles, a little salt, and little white particles. They'll be mixed. But if you actually take a microscope, or even, you don't even need a microscope for salt and pepper, you can just look at it and just look very carefully. You can actually pick out the pepper and the salt particles. So in that case, that would be a heterogeneous mixture where it's not uniform throughout. Okay, I hope that made sense.